Garten of Banban 0 was the key to the entire series. It tied a lot of loose ends and questions that people had at the end of Garten of Banban 7. Not to mention, we get a glimpse at the future of what this franchise holds and the mysterious creature that lies between us and getting out of this place. Today's video, we're going to break down the entire story, all of the lore in between it, and exactly what to look forward to in Garten of Banban 8. So if that sounds good to you, grab your popcorn and a drink, and let's go ahead and dive right into this. So you wake up in a strange place, surrounded by cold walls and eerie silence. No memory of who you are, no idea where you've been. The only thing that's clear is that you're part of something much, much bigger. Welcome to the twisted world of Garten of Banban 0. Your experiments like you don't just play, they survive. So let's break down the full story, the hidden details, and the dark truth behind Banban's actions. The game begins with an unknown experiment. We have no idea who we are up until this point. Waking up in the garden. Almost immediately, we're given a questionnaire. Simple questions, but their purpose, far more sinister. The science want to know, do you remember who you are? Do you understand where you are? And your questions and answers might be more important than you think, as they literally want to make sure that you don't remember how you got there and what you used to be. But more on that later, as a sudden knock on the door and a shadowy figure looms outside. Before you can process what's happening, boom, a voice demands you to move to the back of the room with your hands up. But when your door finally opens, it's not a scientist, it's baby Banban. Banban seems to take the role as the caretaker of this entire garden. He's cheerful, he's charismatic, and unsettlingly mysterious. He introduces himself and welcomes you to the facility. He then hands you a keychain. It's like a small gesture that seems like he's helping you out, and basically it holds all of your key cards as you navigate your way through the garden. Before you ask any questions, you're led into the main playroom where you meet Banbalina, another former experiment. But something's off. She doesn't really trust you. In fact, she barely trusts anyone. And in addition to that, she mentions there's another one of you. Interesting enough, but I jotted that note down in my playthrough and continued on, as we are suggested by Banban to make quote-unquote friends. But these aren't your ordinary kids or friends that you would think. They're GV creatures, and they're oddly deformed, and each one of them has their own strange behavior. And that's when things get really weird. Your first friend is a GV blob that's obsessed with his treasure chest. So much so that he refuses to let anyone near it. Not another blob, not another person. And he's got plans for this treasure, let me tell you. He's incredibly rude and also happens to be voice acted by me, which is really cool. And eventually he'll meet his demise, but we'll come back to this character later. Another GV blob is sit perched high on a windowsill or something that looks like it. He wants to jump, but he doesn't trust anybody to catch him until we come along. However, Banban decides to intervene, and he reassures him, even though the GV blob played a trick on him and Banban didn't seem to like it, that he will be there and catch him as he jumps. But when the blob jumps, Banban steps aside, and the result, a brutally painful landing. He literally gets impaled by the cactus underneath. Was this an accident or a warning by Banban? To be honest, this was the first sign of Banban showing that if you play with him or get on his bad side, bad things will happen. And we get a glimpse of that a little bit later on in Banban's whole selfish nature. But we must continue on, as there is a GV blob inside of this igloo. Inside, though, she needs help solving this puzzle. The puzzle has many key features, but one of them is, if you solve it enough times, you actually unlock the treasure chest to the left. Inside of this treasure chest is an A+ paper. But as a bonus, if you continue on with the game and solve it one more time, the treasure chest on the right then opens up, unveiling a purple key card, which seems harmless enough. However, to get to the deep, dark lore of Banban, you're going to want to make sure you pick this key card up. Of course, after completing the puzzle, we now have a new GV friend, along with the one that we saved from the cactus. Now, this is where things get a little bit more challenging, as there's a GV blob that needs help, but in order to get to him, you need to scale up these ladders. Going from ladder to ladder and doing a bit of parkour, you end up finally getting inside of this blue windowsill. Here, another GV blob awaits, struggling with the puzzle. The issue is he has no hands, and when you solve it for him, the scientist's prize, sadly, is revealed to be a guitar. It's a cruel joke for a creature who can never play it, but in return, he offers tires, an item that will soon be a major role in creating another friendship. If you take these tires to the boat next to the treasure chest that's being guarded by the other GV blob, unfortunately, there's another GV blob that wants to get his hands on that treasure as well. Using those tires, he puts them on the boat, gets inside, and with your push, gets closer to the GV blob played by me. Once he gets there, he slaps me up a little bit and then is rewarded with, well, the death of his friend. And at this point, no longer wants the treasure, as he's dealt something that can't be reversed and has so much grief that he doesn't even want to look at the treasure. So we open it up. Inside of it is Banbalina's bow, and if you give her the bow as well as the A+ test, you now becomes friends with Banbalina as well. For the first time, she finally sees you as an ally and trusts you, but why did these two items matter so much? It might be a simple gesture, but Banban doesn't seem to like it. Seeing as now Banbalina considers us a real friend, he almost gets jealous at hearing this. He brings up gifts that he's given her in the past, and she kind of makes fun of them and puts them to the side. But that's when Banban has an idea to play hide and seek, seeing as now he wants to show how much in charge he is again. Playing hide and go seek goes pretty smoothly. Everybody runs. Of course, you play as the seeker, and after you find everybody else, things go well. However, the door opens up in the far corner of the room, and outside of this door happens to be Syringin. Banban tells you to hide and kind of shoos you off behind a rock, but what we know is that he wants to have a secret conversation with Syringin, and you can go ahead and listen to it here.
On you, monster.
What?
What are you doing here?
The results are out. You're being replaced.
Oh.
We have to do something, and I might just know what exactly. I'll come by later and tell you everything. We won't get another chance, so it must be done tonight, or else they'll notice what I've altered. I've also nabbed that doctor's samples as promised. I am certain they'll drive away your issues. You'll be a new you. You can control it. I know you can. So we can't be seen talking for much longer. You have to go now.
When Banban comes back, he tries to comfort not only us, but also Banbalina, and he lies. He said that he scared off Syringin, but their conversation was quite interesting, as Syringin admits that they're going to have to replace Banban. And on top of that, if Banban doesn't want to get replaced, they're going to have to go into their plan tonight. And that's where things get really dark. Banban ends up telling us to go hibernate, quote unquote, in our room. And after sleeping for a little bit, he wakes us up outside of our door. He says that he has a surprise for us, even though it seems really odd. But it happens to correlate with Syringin's words, as things need to get done tonight. Either way, against our better judgment, we follow Banban out of the room and begin to walk towards the door that was locked previously in the playcare. Heading over in that direction, we stumble across Truffletoot, the newest character of the Garten of Banban. And this little creature is pretty cute and has a nice bonus to it. If you hold Truffletoot and turn him around, he actually serves as a flashlight. And we get our first opportunity to do just that, as Banban's lost his red key card. He has us go search for it, and when we do find it, we bring it back to him and try to open up this door. However, it's jammed, and Banban has the great idea of calling one of his friends to come help. After he signals for someone to come to the door, it finally opens, and right behind it is none other than the baby Nab Nab. Banban says that this is his best friend, and we all get to meet Nab Nab for the first time, continuing on with our journey. But Nab Nab looks a little unsettled at this point. As we continue on, however, he brings us to a very familiar door. Now, this door can only be opened if 5 players step on it at one time. And the problem is, there's only 4 of us. However, Truffletoot actually doesn't count by himself, as he's not heavy enough to push down on this lever. So we need to turn on the lights in this room and then find 2 more people at least to open up this door. And that's exactly what we do. We continue to move through the laboratory until we stumble across another room. Inside of this room, believe it or not, is baby Bitter Giggles, who's tied down to an operating room. And unfortunately for him, green gas is beginning to emit from this area, and we need to stop it. The only way to stop it is solving the puzzle in the room. This puzzle is a series of different timings, and eventually, if you create enough circuit energy to get to the end, you can turn off the gas in the room. You also get the yellow key card, which unlocks Bitter Giggles from his operating table. And now that he's free, he tells you a joke, but he seems off as well. When the door eventually opens, we run back into Banban and Nab Nab, and he doesn't seem super happy to see Banban. And this is how it goes.
6.
What happened to you, 17?
I was left for
43.
dead.
You're
Or
8.
until tomorrow.
What's
But
not
your
any of
friend
them?
here saved the day. It's nice to see you again, 8. And you, Truffletoot.
You said he helped you? Well, we also need your help with something.
We still need one more person though.
Of course. Anything after what was
3,
done
4,
for me.
5, but he doesn't count.
But we'd still need one more body.
As you can see, we meet the baby Kittyosaurus, who's actually still really good friends with Bitter Giggles even this long ago, which is nice to see. But we continue to make our way to that dreadful door that Banban for some reason wants to open, claiming that he has a surprise for the new guy, which is us, in case you're wondering. We move that direction, but if you actually turn right in the darkness, you'll come across a hammer. This hammer inside of this locker is a secret that not a lot of people have found, but make sure that you grab it, because that is the key to unlocking something very, very interesting to the lore of Garten of Banban. Of course though, after grabbing the hammer, you have another conversation with Bitter Giggles, who seems even more unsure about this decision that Banban seems to want to go through with. He tells you that he'll do it since he's in your debt, but he doesn't agree with it. And so we continue on without second guessing Banban's intentions. As we walk over to the room, Banban gives a final speech.
Alright, let's spread, and each of us pick a plate to stand on.
What did he say?
New guy, the surprise is for you, remember?
No, I don't want to get
Stand in
spread
line.
out and surprised.
I can't promise it'll be a room full of Pancreas's level of awesomeness, but I'm sure you'll love it.
Banban's really sure of himself, and right before we step on this platform though, it looks like Nab Nab has something he wants to tell us or do to us, which at first I was a little thrown off by, but you can see he's just hugging us. It's almost as if he's saying goodbye, which is really odd, seeing as this is supposed to be a nice surprise. It's not a room full of pancreases, but still supposed to be good. However, when everybody steps on the platforms, the door opens and a horrifying creature comes out. That's right, Ramamba. And as Ramamba comes charging at us head on, we are finally saved by Nab Nab, who pushes us away and actually gets swallowed whole by the creature. This is one of the most intense scenes in all of Garten of Banban, but that's exactly what happens. He not only takes Nab Nab, but Bitter Giggles and Kittyosaurus go to chase after him. Banban's thrown off to the side, and he looks like he's hurt at this point, but we need to run after our friends. Running through the dark hallway, we finally see them in the distance, back in the playroom, and this horrifying creature descends from the ceiling, and he slowly makes his way towards Bitter Giggles and Kittyosaurus, and eventually eats them as well. But before he turns his attention to us, Banban and Truffletoot are standing in the doorway. They tell us to run towards them, and as we do, the floor behind us breaks, causing all 3 of us to fall into the dark cavern and get extremely hurt. As we're down here though, we know that the Ramamba isn't too far behind and we need to make a move. Banban, oddly enough, decides to split up from us. Probably his plan in the end, as he wanted to get himself as far away from us in Truffletooth as possible in order to save himself. And that means that Banban was willing to sacrifice not only us, but also Truffletooth just for another chance of survival, which really shows his true character. But neither nor we go down this tunnel with Truffletooth in hand, using him as a flashlight. However, shortly after, there is a boom in the distance, and behind us is Ramamba chasing us at full speed. We continue to run through this cavern until we get to a dead end. And unfortunately, this is the end of our story. Or is it? As a demon form of Banban jumps in front of Ramamba, and as Ramamba goes to eat us in his jaws, they are being held open by this demon form of Banban. Now, many people want to understand, why would Banban do this if his whole plan was to let us die here? And that's where this whole thing comes in handy. If you look through all the logs, you'll notice that the demon form of Banban isn't controlled by Banban. He doesn't know when or how it's going to come out. And I think that's what happened here, as Banban tried to let us die, but his demon form took over, and he was so stubborn to letting Ramamba get a kill that he stepped in. And then the epic battle begins as Banban and Ramamba go into this crazy battle back and forth. Eventually, Banban gouges his eyes out and releases our friends. So Bitter Giggles, Kittyosaurus, and Nab Nab are all spit out by the creature. And Banban comes back to his own self, and he realizes that we're still here, and his plan failed. So that's when he decides to come up with a new plan. We're gonna play hide and seek, and he says that Bitter Giggles is going to seek us, even though Bitter Giggles is unconscious. He tells us that he has a special hiding place for us and begins walking through the doorway. However, if you listen closely, you can actually find a secret pathway, a secret room that uncovers a totally new perspective of this game. If you take the ladder back up the course all the way until the top, and then slowly approach this red window, you'll see that there's a tunnel which leads to a whole nother room. In this room, there's wooden planks, but you can knock them down with the hammer that we received before, and then you can key yourself in with the purple key card that we found in the chest. This room is incredible because Celine Snail is actually in here. She gives us a crazy tip to our future, our past, and our present. Listen up.
Oh, it's you. You are absent from most of my visions. Why is that? I wonder. But in the few where you are present, you are accompanied by a stranger.
She says that she doesn't see us in the future, and the little glimpses that she does, we happen to be with a stranger, which is really odd. Who could that stranger potentially be? There's some that I have in mind, but we'll save that for a theory video in the future. And unfortunately, we need to go back and meet up with Banban again. So if you follow down that hallway, eventually getting to the whiteboard, that whiteboard, if you click on it, gives you a special cutscene that sounds a little bit like this.
Best not to dwell on the past and only focus on the future.
It's not much, but hey, it's just Banban once again telling us to ignore what we already know is coming. And then he walks us over to the closet or cupboard. He tells us to hide in here until he comes back, and that's where he leaves us. And you realize that you've been playing as Flumbo this entire time. And so all of the answers that we were looking for at the end of Garten of Banban 7 are here. However, we do still have an open-ended question. And that is, what is this relationship that Syringin and Banban have? How on earth are we going to break it? And does this mean that Banban is the true villain of the kindergarten? All I know is this game got even crazier, and I really enjoyed Garten of Banban 0. I thought the lore of it was awesome, the gameplay was really cool, and Ramamba might just be my favorite character up until this point. So shout out to the Euphoric Brothers, another masterpiece by them. Hopefully you enjoyed this story explained, and if you want to see more incredible Banban theory videos, this is the place to be. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. I'll see you in the next one. Till then, peace out!